Welcome to Tech Talks, Evolving Distribution. I'm Corey Hayes, and with me is Bill Rosado. Today, we're exploring how digital transformation is reshaping the distribution industry.
That's right. From e-commerce platforms to CRM tools, we talk with industry experts about how distribution can embrace these changes and thrive in the ever-changing space.
Whether you're just getting started or looking for new insights, we've got you covered. Today's episode is packed with information to help you navigate the digital shift.
So let the tech talk begin.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Tech Talks, Evolving Distribution. Corey Hayes alongside Bill Rosado. Bill, how are you doing in the middle? Are you frozen over in the snow down there in Des Moines?
Well, I'm not frozen over, but I am frozen. Yes, it's very, very cold. But we're excited, right, to talk to somebody that got just as much snow as we did, right? And has a lot of experience in distribution. So we're excited to have James on today.
Yeah, James Gerdes, really excited to have you on. You are the president over at WebPresented. James, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I haven't left my house in 2 days due to the snow, but I'm still coping.
Yeah, I've been in the same boat. Haven't left the house in the 2 days. I can't tell who's more sick of me, my son or my wife. So I'm just hiding in my office all day long. No, it's really good to be on with you today, and really excited to talk about WebPresented. Really excited to talk about just your experience in the distribution space, in the technology space, and learn a little bit more about what it is that WebPresented does. So why don't, just from the start here, from the top, why don't you introduce yourself to the listener? Tell us a little bit more about yourself. Tell us a little bit more about WebPresented.
Sure. Yeah. My name's James Gerdes. I'm the president and founder of WebPresented. We are a customer relationship management CRM company focused specifically on wholesale distributors. A little bit about me, you might pick up that I'm not originally from Columbus, Ohio. I'm originally from the UK, down in the southeast. My career started in London, in the UK, working for PricewaterhouseCoopers as a management consultant. Worked with all kinds of businesses, huge organizations, and managed their business processes. So kind of early on in my career, I was building out business processes. Really didn't come from a tech background per se, but more just from a business and management consulting background. When I moved to the States for family reasons in the early 2000s, I started working for a large software company, Infor, ERP company. And of course, they offer distribution solutions. So specifically for distribution companies, they manage ERPs, they manage inventory, warehouse, logistics, finance, invoicing, all that great stuff. Had a great time in Infor, spent 3 or 4 years there, got to know distribution, got to know software, how it solves problems in distribution, and spent a lot of time working with Infor customers. And what became incredibly evident very early on in my conversations with these distributors was that while the Infor typical ERP platform serviced them very well to run the business, the sales teams were often really struggling because they were looking for something more than an ERP could provide. They wanted mobility, they wanted browser-based functionality back at the time. They wanted collaboration tools. Yes, they wanted reports, but they didn't need granular, detailed data. They just wanted overarching themes among customers and industries and product lines and things like that. So when I left Infor, I actually started WebPresented as a consulting firm. And what we would do is because I had a great deal of contacts in the Infor ecosystem, I would work with Infor customers and get them up and running on various different third-party CRM tools, like Microsoft CRM, like Salesforce, all those types of tools. And crazily enough, despite having these world-renowned CRM platforms, the success rate of these projects was incredibly low. And obviously it was an incredibly steep learning curve for me. How could you possibly go wrong if you're implementing quote unquote best of breed CRM. And yet there's no adoption, there's very little value, there's extremely high sticker price just for the platform alone, let alone integrations. And so over time, after several of these sort of failed or stalled attempts at CRM, what became clear was there was a gap in the market for a incredibly easy to use, simple, yet accessible CRM platform that helped sales teams kind of manage their activities, understand opportunities, capture prospects, contacts, communications. But they didn't have to pay 6 figures plus just for licensing outside of the integration. So that's really where WebPresented was born. We hired a development company to help us build our platform. Actually went to 6 different distributors and said, look, if you give me a year, we'll come up with a CRM platform. And then if you don't like it, no problem. So I kind of bet on myself, had those 6 customers. And, those 6 customers were customers of ours for extremely long time. 2 of them are actually still existing customers. And so that's how it all was born.
That's an awesome, incredible story and journey, right? Of coming over and working for a large ERP and then working against basically what was probably the biggest CRM and might still be the biggest CRM out there, and how best in breed, you're right, doesn't always solve everybody's opportunities, right? As far as in the sales department.
Yeah.
Hey, so what? Go ahead.
I was gonna make a joke. I said I like the fact that you had to point out to everybody that you're not from the States, because it was hard to tell with that thick Midwestern accent. I thought for sure you were an Ohio boy, born and raised.
Corey, the funny thing is, my accent is now literally half and half. I go back to England and people will say, oh, you sound American. I come to America and they say you sound British. So I'm kind of somewhere in the middle of the Atlantic, I guess.
I have that same problem every now and then. Well, maybe not.
Go ahead, Bill. Sorry.
So you've seen a lot, right? You were on both sides, right? You were on the ERP side. Now you're on a provider side. What's one of the common industry trends that you think is really a distraction for distributors today?
Yeah, it's a great question. And without wanting to sort of diminish the importance of great software, I think that oftentimes distributors are a little bit, they focus a little bit overly on just buying software, adding automation. AI is obviously a big trend. Digital transformation is a huge buzzword, and rightly so. But without real clarity around what the purpose is and what difficult problems are we trying to solve, too much over automation actually, I find, causes a huge amount of distraction and really just kind of adds more noise versus helping clarify. I've got multiple different examples I could share with these, but in the case of just kind of buying an additional reporting tool, or buying a whatever platform it is, in the hope that it'll help solve inefficient processes, typically doesn't work very well. You got to define those processes first, understand what the objectives are. There's still a lot of thought that needs to go into it. And then the platform should be one that allows for frictionless implementation of those processes. But it's not going to solve the process issue.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, because I've heard it more times than I could probably count now. People ask, well, how are you introducing AI into your platform? How are you introducing AI into your solution? Which is a great question. It's something that obviously our developers have been looking at, and I'm sure that you guys have on your end too. The problem with that is what you're talking about, the process is you need data in order for that AI to really interpret and know what to go look for and actually provide a solution. You need that to have some kind of history to actually read. You can't just introduce a new tool that doesn't understand what its purpose is. And the same thing about distributors business. In your case in point, actually taking the time to logistically understand why we need a solution and how do we strategically, attack the issue that we have and provide a solution to fit all the way from A to Z. So it's a really good understanding or really approach to understanding why you need technology. And something that I think a lot of people don't really take the time to understand is is the actual logistic base of why we need this solution.
That's right. Yeah, AI is certainly not going to fix bad habits, right?
Right.
It's not going to automatically correct underlying process issues. It'll
Right.
automate them and actually sometimes even kind of obscure some of the issues that customers have.
Yeah, so let's flip this around. So where in the process, and you can use as a specific example as you want. You can talk about just in general. It's totally up to you how you want to take this. But
Yeah.
where in the process, where was a moment that a client realized your solution, Web Presented, isn't really just a tool, a generic tool, but it's a fundamental shift in their business. This changes how we do business.
Sure. Yeah, yeah. Many examples. Let me give you one example. So there's a customer of ours, a new customer actually, within the last couple of years, and it's a very large distribution company based
Mhm.
out of Minneapolis, and they had thought they had to get CRM because everyone else was getting CRM, and a lot of the new sales reps that were coming on board were asking, where's my CRM or where's my dashboards? How do I track? And this was kind of a shift in and of itself, where now technology, especially with a kind of a newer generation of sellers, coming around, they expect technology. So part of the reason for getting a CRM in their mind was, everyone else is getting one. We get it. We understand that we need to track opportunities and prospects and contacts, and we don't want people leaving with all our contacts. So there's a lot of important reasons why customers would choose a CRM, but they didn't really see the CRM as a tool to help them kind of connect the dots between what the salespeople are telling them and what the ERP says. So, for example, they had a sales rep who was the quote unquote the best sales rep that in the company, the most longest tenured, been there forever, knew all the contacts, knew the birthdays, the wives and husbands' names of their customers, sent little cookies on for their children's graduation, all those types of things. Great,
Yeah.
and that's certainly relationships is extremely important in distribution sales. And during implementation, he was really lagging behind when it came to adoption. He didn't want to enter any notes, didn't want to track his opportunities, didn't see the value in it. And his data, at least what they saw in the ERP system, was that his customers were crushing it. And why change a habit that's not broken? Well, 6 months later, this seller actually retired and decided to move on. And the customer hadn't reassigned his accounts. And the month after he retired, that sales rep had his best month of sales in the entire time he was there. So it really kind of struck them like, well, maybe this guy just had incredibly good customers that were really, actively buying, and it's true, their customers were just exponentially growing. They had some customers in the drone type technology industry that were just literally booming at that point in time. And then they started realizing that, we can actually start predicting what our sales reps sales are how they're going to be by using the CRM tool. And it actually helped them to understand, which sellers are really contributing to these sales versus which customers are just great customers and perhaps don't need as much hand holding, because we're going to be fine without them. Because obviously sales is a hugely expensive, outside sales, hugely expensive resource. And that kind of aha moment. And then, it's been about a year and a half, couple of years since they've been live on the system. I'm extremely close with their VP of sales on a frequent basis. He's just pushing for more and more. That aha moment, just that penny dropped. He's like, what if we did this? How do I get more and more out of the system? And it's that kind of excitement that rather than a kind of like us two situation is, let's come up with some innovation and use this platform to really understand how our sellers are doing. So that's just a small example of how a customer really kind of got that aha moment with why to use a CRM.
Yeah, something that I've really enjoyed being just kind of in the web presented space was at your user conference was the Shark Tank
Oh
that
yeah.
that you guys do. And what you just walked me through actually reminded me a lot of that Shark Tank. Kind of took me back when I was listening to your customers just saying, how can we solve this problem and this solution that we have, or how can we find a solution for what we have here within the confines of using the CRM, and the way that your team attacked issues and the way that your team look and heard the customer and then approached them and finding ways to solve their issues was really something that was pretty awesome. It's something that I saw same thing at like Epicube. They do their Shark Tank. Those are really awesome key components that I think sometimes people honestly, and I'm going to try not to rant here, but sometimes people take for granted. You know, sometimes customers don't really understand, or distributors may not understand how important it is to have a partner in the technology space that's willing to listen to you, willing to understand you, take the time to actually approach your needs in a systematic way that delivers results. And that story, James, that you just shared, along with what I've seen in Shark Tank, I think really encapsulate what Web Presented does for their customers in a great way. And then showing that you will always tackle issues in a systematic way that delivers good results. So that, I don't know, maybe I just had a little bit of an aha moment. I had a little bit of a moment where I see what you can do for customers, and that's
Yeah, I
great. It is awesome.
appreciate that, Corey. Yeah, our Shark Tank is really I mean, it's fourth, fifth year now.
Yeah.
So every year in our user group conference, we have our customers pitch a product
Mhm.
idea to us, and we're the sharks, if you like, and we kind of pick one that we as a winner that gets built into our platform, added to our roadmap, and yeah, our customers are our biggest source of innovation, new ideas. They're the ones solving problems in the day to day,
Right.
and we love listening. And I'll just go on a kind of a drive along sometimes with sales reps for our customers, and just see the kinds of challenges that they encounter. It's fascinating.
Yeah. That is
So
interesting.
yeah, so I've known you for quite a while, James, right? And we've had some great conversations. So this isn't my first conversation with James, but one thing that I really see that sets your company apart, I think, James, is that you didn't come from software, like you said, right? You came from a business process organization where you understand their business and what the processes are to then apply software that makes sense. So I think that's a huge success that Web Presented has. And I'd say you have a big part of that, James, right? You've brought that understanding to your team to look at things like that. So yeah, kudos to you, sir.
The only the
Appreciate that,
only
Bill. Yep.
The only bone that I got to pick is this guy called Trent Thompson. No, I'm just kidding.
What? Uh-oh. Trent's getting
Trent
us
was
in trouble
episode
again, isn't
one.
Trent
Yeah,
was
Trent was episode
Oh,
episode.
one.
okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No. All right. So to round this out, James, if the
Mhm.
distributor does nothing else this year, they change nothing else this year, what's that one tip that you give them? Something that should go on their t-shirt, something that should go on the billboard. What do they need to know?
Yeah, I would say with all the focus on growth, with all the focus, on efficiencies, and rightly so, especially in distribution. Um, Customer health is the most important thing you can really think about. How happy are your customers? What's their, general risk of each customer? Because obviously finding new customers is a lot more expensive than protecting the ones that they already have. And if they don't have a tool that and sales, by the way, it's a trailing indicator. It's a very bad way of assessing the health of a customer,
Mm,
because if they walk away, it's too late. So the ability to really think hard about how happy and healthy your customers are, and what leading indicators you can use to start measuring the health of customers, whether it be interactions via email, text message, video calls, whether it be changing patterns in sales, all of those little early warning indicators, they're available in WebPresented, and they're able to be used to mitigate problems before they really become problems. So don't assume that your customers are happy. Make sure that you're constantly monitoring behaviors and activities. Don't become over-reliant on single sales reps and what they say necessarily. Balance it out with empirical data and not just sales data, and find that untapped potential in existing customers. It's much harder to get a new customer on board than to grow an existing customers. So change those triers into buyers and protect them at all costs.
Yeah, that's great.
Is that a t-shirt you guys are going to put out? Change those triers into buyers?
All that.
It's good, right?
No, that's great. And I mean, I'm just sitting here listening to you, and if you're sitting on the other side listening to this, asking yourself, I don't really know where to even get started to do that. I don't really even know how to chase it down. That's where people like James and companies like WebPresented come into play. And so with that in mind, I do have one final question for you. Where can we go to learn more about WebPresented? Where can we go to get into contact with somebody, get in touch with somebody to learn more about your company?
Sure. Easy answer to that is just go to a website, webpresented.com. You'll be able to contact us, get a free demo. We honestly aren't kind of one of those pushy sales organizations. We just love, like I talked about, we love hearing about businesses. We like sharing stories, what works, what doesn't work. I'm more than happy to get on a call with any distributor and just talk about sort of what works with them, what doesn't. It's amazing the amount of commonality, even in entirely different vertical industries. Right. You could be selling PVC pipe or janitorial supplies. It really doesn't matter what you're selling. There's so many common challenges, and that's kind of our bread and butter. We just love solving those common problems. So yeah, webpresented.com. Feel free to contact me on LinkedIn. Bill, Corey, I'm sure you guys are more than willing to give referrals our way. You've got our contact information as well. Yeah, absolutely. No, it's great. We love our partnership with WebPresented for sure. And yeah, it's been mutually beneficial, and happy to help any way we can. So James, I'll just give you guys a quick props. We have several common customers. Oftentimes we'll find that customers need a CRM and a e-commerce platform. Makes perfect sense. Our two systems integrate extremely well together. We've heard nothing but great things about Aldridge from our customers of yours. So it's a great partnership both ways.
Well, we appreciate that. Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you, James, for being on today. Thank you for taking the time out to talk to the Tech Talks listeners. And thank you for jumping on and listening to another episode of Tech Talks. Remember, episodes coming out every Tuesday and Thursday of the month. You can find us on YouTube, find us on Spotify, find us on Apple Podcasts. We also have a LinkedIn newsletter that goes out. So if you'd like to be a part of that group, we'd love to have you. So just go search Tech Talks Evolving Distribution on LinkedIn. You should be able to find us. Bill, any final thoughts that you have?
No, James, I just greatly appreciate you taking the time. I know you have a busy schedule, and look forward to having more conversations this year, right, where we connect at some other conferences.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, James.
Thank you.
Thank you. And that's a wrap for today's episode of Tech Talks Evolving Distribution. Thanks for tuning in.
And we hope you've gained some valuable insights on how to embrace digital transformation and stay ahead in the distribution industry.
A special thanks to our sponsor, Aldridge Web Solutions, for supporting this podcast. With over 20 years of experience, they've been helping distributors win online and maximize their digital presence. Be sure to check them out if you're ready to take your business to the next level.
And if you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave us a review. And of course, share this with anyone who could benefit from this conversation.
We'll be back next time with more expert insights. And until then, keep evolving and embracing change.